Welcome back, Defenders. Today we have a mystery. Perhaps you can help me solve it. And it involves this Israeli airstrike against a Russian airbase in Syria 2 days ago. Targeting weapons bound for Hezbollah, Israel appears to have struck very close or within Russia's Khmeimim airbase in Syria. This is what this Russian airbase looks like. This is a satellite image from a couple weeks ago. You can see Russian planes parked here, and parked here. And Israel wasn't targeting the planes. They weren't trying to destroy any of Russia's assets. But they did destroy some kind of ammunition depot or storage warehouse containing Iranian weapons. This is what the intelligence is. Iran was using Russia's airfield to rush deliver weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel got the intelligence, and they destroyed the weapons. And this definitely happened. There are videos online, and when you listen to the videos, you can hear the pop, pop, pop of secondary explosions. This was some kind of storage warehouse containing ammunition, more than likely bound for Hezbollah in Lebanon. I also want to say this is not a spoof video. This video can be geolocated where it was taken. So this was definitely either on the Russian airbase or immediately next to it. So here's the mystery. When we check the firm's data, it doesn't show any fire. It doesn't show any explosions. Firm's data can be inaccurate if there's cloud coverage, so potentially that explains it. But I'm on Twitter the last 2 days searching for, after satellite images or any videos of bystanders who can capture the damage of this building, and there's nothing. It's like it didn't even happen 2 days ago. Additionally, nobody is talking about it. Israel doesn't want to talk about it because they did it. The United States doesn't want to talk about it because they probably didn't want Israel to do it. Russia doesn't want to talk about it because they got caught allowing Iran to use their airfield. So I guess it wasn't a big deal, and nothing's going to come of it because nobody is talking about it. So let's get back to talking about what's actually going on inside of Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine claims drone strike on Russia's Boris-Oglebysk airbase. That's a fun word. This is about 330 kilometers from Kharkiv. And initially it looked promising, but we have the low-resolution satellite images, and it just looks like the fields at the airface, like the grass fields, are the only thing that caught fire. You can see the planes and the equipment down here, and perhaps there's light damage, but doesn't seem like a big strike. But as I always say, there's always tomorrow night. Ukrainian long-range drones torch another oil storage site deep in Russia. Oil depots on fire in Russia's Voronezh Oblast, as well as Perm Krai. And we do have videos online, I'll link these down below, showing the oil fire. Unfortunately, though, once again, I don't think Ukraine actually hit the oil depot. Perhaps Russia actually had some decent air defense systems and they shot down Ukraine's drones. So the fire we're seeing is south of the oil facility. I don't think Ukraine was targeting this. I definitely think the oil depot was the target. And there's always tomorrow night. As for the oil depot in the other location, this is in the Voronezh region, this had to have been a direct hit. There's a pretty compelling video showing the drone striking the depot. We don't have the satellite images yet, but I'll link this down below if you want to see the video for yourself. The next topic is a very difficult one to talk about. Russia kills 177 Ukrainian POWs in captivity. Despite approximately 3,600 POWs and deported citizens being exchanged and returned, thousands of Ukrainians still remain unaccounted for, with fears that the true death toll could be significantly higher. These are Ukrainians who have surrendered. They were in their foxhole or dugout. They ran out of ammunition. Russian ground forces surrounded them. And they can either die or choose to surrender. So there is this imbalance in the war. When a military goes on the offensive, it's much more likely that soldiers will surrender. Once they're encircled and they run out of ammunition, you wave the white flag. Under the rules of international law, if you surrender, you have to be treated humanely and you have to be processed as a POW. So this imbalance has always favored Russia, because Russia is always attacking everywhere in the Donetsk Oblast. So as far as the exchange fund, I think there are way more Ukrainian POWs inside of Russia than Russian POWs inside of Ukraine. Ukraine immediately just wants to exchange them back to get their own people. So Russian soldiers don't value Ukrainian POWs, and they brutalize and they torture and they execute them all the time. And there's a video in the last day that went viral. I'm not going to link it down below. I'm not going to share it. When the Russians torture Ukrainian POWs or execute them, murder them, they film it on purpose and share it on social media because that's what they want. They want to spread this brand of terror. And I do want to read these thoughts. This is from a Ukrainian translator who worked on the film 20 Days in Mariupol, talking about the Ukrainian POW that was murdered on camera. This man was someone's son, someone's friend, someone's partner, maybe even someone's father. Please don't watch the video, it's extremely upsetting. But if you do, I want to point out these things. As he was shoved into the concrete and then marched out into a field to be murdered, not once did this man show fear. He probably felt it, but he didn't give Russians the satisfaction. In fact, this man showed defiance and pride. He was a hero. I'm currently reading Timothy Schneider's book On Freedom, and it's giving me some good ideas, some good talking points I'd like to bring up in my videos. And one of them is Russian propaganda has tricked the global South into believing that white people have never colonized white people. It's kind of a crazy idea when I first mentioned it to you, but for people in South America or Africa or Southeast Asia who are sympathetic towards Russia, saying Russia is the anti-colonial force, the anti-imperialist force, because it was Great Britain and France and the Netherlands and Spain who colonized the rest of the world. But the only reason why Russia didn't colonize Africa or South America or Southeast Asia is because they're a land power. They sucked at building ships, and anytime they engaged in combat on the open oceans, they were defeated. But the Russian Empire called itself the Russian Empire up until 1915, 1916, whatever. And yes, it's possible for white people to colonize white people. Russia's been doing this for hundreds of years, and they've managed to erase this history and not allow this idea to permeate through the global South. So yeah, Europe frequently has wars. World War I, World War II, white people killing white people. But they didn't colonize each other. That's the myth. That's the propaganda that Russia has pushed to the global South. When in reality, of course, the people of Belarus have been fully colonized. Russia is trying to colonize Ukraine right now. Russia is trying to get the Baltics back. After World War II, half of Europe wasn't liberated. It was annexed. Indirectly through the communist governments, the Kremlin controlled all of these Eastern European countries. This is what Russia wants back. And I have to be honest, the Russian people support this. They support this mindset. They like the idea of Russia being an empire again. They like the idea of these wars continuing so they can feel important, so they can feel grand. Even if you're the poorest man in an empire, if your empire is strong, you have something to be proud of. So how do we eradicate this idea? How do we make the world a safer place from imperialism which we really should have gotten rid of in 1945. And here's Garry Kasparov making an argument on TVP. How do we liberate the people of Russia from their mindset of empire?
Nothing else but the total defeat of Putin's army in Ukraine can offer Russia a chance. We're not fighting just Putin or his cronies. We're fighting the Imperial virus. And the only way to actually eradicate this virus from the minds of ordinary Russians, it's a shocking therapy. Nothing short of Ukrainian flag in Sevastopol. They have to see empire is dead. Only then we have a chance. Because otherwise, you have majority of people saying, oh, well, we can continue the war. So it's shocking defeat.
Ukraine has to defeat Russia. The Russian people have to experience a shocking defeat. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, that was because of economic problems. They weren't militarily defeated by NATO. Nobody took the Kremlin. So the Imperial virus was contained. It was dormant for decades, and it's now returned. Russians get excited when they see this map. They feel pride when they see this map. And they're not really opposed to going back to a time where they controlled half of Europe, when they controlled the Caucasus, when they controlled Central Asia, when they were a global hegemon, basically. We'll get there if we can get Ukraine the support they need. Ukraine can do this. And what's working to Ukraine's advantage is the Russians are corrupt and incompetent. These people are stupid and evil, and that's a very dangerous combination. Case in point, in my video 2 days ago, I shared with you this clip of Russian Z-blogger Yegor Guzenko, call sign the 13th. I've shared maybe half a dozen of his clips over the last 2 years. He's a very well-known Russian military blogger. And he raised the alarm about shell shortages across the front line, probably as a consequence of Ukraine destroying these arsenals and depots inside of Russia. And this morning, he was arrested. We don't know exactly why he was arrested, but it probably has something to do with this video he made 2 days ago, speaking the truth. If you're Russian, you're not allowed to speak the truth if the truth makes Russia look bad. This has been the official policy for the last 2 years. So that was an amateur, a Russian military blogger, a guy on Telegram. What are they actually saying on Kremlin State TV? And this is just theater at this point. I'm not going to read this. I'm going to play this for you of Solovyov being insane.
Меня вот что интересует. Хохлонацисты, поближе к телевизору подойдите. Ближе. Хорошо ли вам видно? Почему вы не можете оторваться от нашей программы? Почему вы все время ее цитируете? Вам же запрещено нас смотреть. Соскучились по слову правды? Ну так внимайте. А правда простая. Мы уничтожим всех нацистов и освободим украинский народ от этого страшного сатанинского ярма.
So the propaganda they put out on Kremlin State TV is only supposed to be for their domestic Russian audience. The propaganda they want people in the West seeing is completely different. So Solovyov is saying, why are you watching us, people living in the West? We know you watch these clips of our state broadcast. Is it because you want to hear the truth for once? Sure, Solovyov. Nothing good's going to happen to this guy once the war is over, I guarantee you. Let's get to the bad news for Russia. Russia lost more elite soldiers in 1 year near Vuhledar than in 10 years of fighting with the Chechens back in the 90s. Good job, Russia. So let's check in with an average Russian soldier. This is not an elite Russian soldier, but cell phones with video cameras have been banned because the Russian military doesn't want their soldiers taking these kinds of videos and uploading them on social media. But here's a typical report. I see these almost every day. When I have time, I share what I can. Here's what this Russian soldier is reporting. This video is from the Kamchatka Battalion, who were sent to the slaughter, sent to our deaths. Those who weren't even trained. Children are dying here, 18-year-olds. Untrained who joined this Kamchatka Battalion. They've been on the range for 4 days, who haven't even fired a shot because they have no ammunition. And they were sent to the front line. Those who joined the Kamchatka Battalion from the other regions were sent to the front line. We were sent without anything. We have no food, no water, no radios, no thermal imagers. We have nothing. We buy radios at our own expense. We also buy clothes at our own expense, socks, heat. We buy everything at the expense of the money we have to feed our families. He's talking about that $2,000 a month for contract soldiers. But we buy batteries, radios, uniforms with this money. One thermal imager costs 180,000 rubles. We can't even buy one thermal imager. We have families. We have people to feed. But we have no food. We get food here once a week. It is very difficult to get through because there is shelling everywhere. Snipers are working everywhere. Artillery is working everywhere. Mortars hit us every day. There are dead and wounded every day. It is very difficult to hold this position on the front line. We are near Rubizhne. There is fighting here every day. People are dying. People who are untrained. Yeah, it kind of fits the narrative I've been hearing from all these videos of Russian soldiers on the front lines. Ukrainian drone strikes destroy a Russian S-400 radar in the Belgorod Oblast. There is a video. I'll link it down below if you want to see it for yourself. This is crazy. Modern Russian Sukhoi S-70 Okhanik stealth drone shot down above Ukraine. The loss of this drone could provide Ukraine and its Western allies with invaluable intelligence on Russian stealth technology and autonomous combat systems. This is a stealth bomber that for some reason was flying over Ukraine, and Russia has only ever built 2 of them, and they just lost one, and Ukraine has recovered the wreckage. People are even saying that Russia accidentally shot down it themselves as well, so it's a weird story, and this is a very weird-looking plane, but yeah, it's still bad news for Russia. Missile strike near Donetsk eliminates 6 North Korean officers, according to an intelligence report. 6 officers from North Korea were among the 20 soldiers killed in a Ukrainian missile strike on a Russian-occupied territory near Donetsk. Earlier this year, Putin went to Pyongyang to meet with Kim Jong-un. They actually signed a formal military treaty in which Russia would come to North Korea's defense if North Korea started a war, but part of the agreement was North Korea would actually send some of their soldiers to Russia, and they're calling them engineering units. We all know it's going to be cannon fodder for the front lines, but they haven't been spotted yet, like frontline grunts charging into combat. But yeah, some of these North Korean officers are in the occupied territories getting a tour, and 6 of their officers were eliminated in a strike. Siberian region declares high alert over electricity shortages. Authorities in Russia's Kursk region in southeastern Siberia introduced a state of high alert due to electricity shortages. It's not even winter yet in Russia, and Ukraine yet isn't even targeting their thermal power plants. And across Russia, they're already experiencing electricity shortages. This is going to be a devastating winter for the Russian people, I guarantee you. This is a big story. Saudi Arabia's planned oil production hike threatens Russia's war economy. The Saudis are going to start pumping more. This will increase the global supply. If demand remains constant, that brings down the price that Russia is getting for their oil exports. And this is a story that goes back 10 months. People might have forgotten this. This article is from December 6th of 2023. But Putin traveled to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Saudis himself. to beg them to cut production. This would increase the price Russia is getting for their oil. And Saudi Arabia agreed. OPEC agreed to reduce price because they thought everyone would get a higher price for oil. That didn't really happen, mostly because the United States is producing so much. The United States would love it if OPEC would cut production. And you can see it in the price here. So this article in which the Saudis announced they would be cutting production goes back to last December. If we go back to last December, the price of oil wasn't very good, about $73 a barrel. Saudi Arabia cut production, increasing the price up to 91. This benefits Russia. But since April, the price has only been going down. There's been a recent spike because of the tensions between Israel and Iran, but Saudi Arabia is giving up. They wanted the price of oil to be at $100 a barrel. They thought they could get there by just producing less. And they've fallen behind. They've lost a lot of money this year trying to play ball with the Russians and reducing their own outputs. So if Saudi Arabia increases production, that's just going to drive the price down. It's just going to hurt Russia's bottom line and make their oil and energy giants even less profitable. I'm all for it. Let's get to the good news for Ukraine. Over 1/3 of ammo planned under the Czech initiative has officially been delivered. Thank you so much to all the countries that participated in the Czech-led artillery initiative. France to send another 12 Caesar howitzers to Ukraine. Thank you so much to the people of France. Sweden pledges $2.4 million to boost Ukraine's war crime investigations. Thank you so much to the people of Sweden. Switzerland to provide Ukraine with about $1.7 billion for reconstruction projects over the next 4 years. Thank you so much to the people of Switzerland. Ukraine to receive $23.6 million in Norwegian investments through Norfund. Thank you so much to the people of Norway. The final story, the final videos I want to share with you concern this Ukrainian defender, Victor Blacksmith. And Victor currently is in Australia. Almost 2 weeks ago, he was injured and had both of his legs amputated just above the knees. And Victor qualified for a special surgery to get, I think you can actually see it here, these metal bolts attached to the bones where he had amputations. Victor is a very spirited person, and he wanted to seek out the best treatment for his amputations that would allow him to return to military service. This is what he wants. I want to share a couple pictures and videos of him. The first one, this is only a couple days after his legs being amputated, and this is the kind of spirits he was in.
Cheating, like 20 kilograms.
Yeah, it's because you're 20 or 30 kilograms lighter now.
So they're joking, saying it's easier for him to do pull-ups because he's now 20 kilograms lighter. And Victor wanted to get this surgery because it allows for certain kinds of prosthetics that allow for a greater range of motion. He wants to return to his unit. He wants to return to any capacity he can undertake with his new handicap to support his people and support his country. So an organization, Atlas Strategies International, started this fundraiser to fly him to Australia and to get him this special surgery. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's incredibly expensive. But people are standing with Victor. They're supporting Victor. His pictures and videos online have gone viral, and people have been donating. I'll give the link down below if you want to chip in $5 or $10. And I'm just going to share a couple more of these videos. Here's Victor at the hospital in Australia prior to his surgery. Here's Victor on the plane to Australia, flying on Qatar Airlines. He had a couple days before his surgery took place, so he visited a zoo, and here's Victor with some kangaroos. He got to see the Sydney Opera House, and this is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And here's the video of Victor right before going into surgery. This organization on Twitter, they go by the name Atlas Global Aid. They are providing documentation and receipts for everything they're doing in support of getting Victor to Australia for this surgery. Once again, I just want to recommend it. If you want to kick in $5 or $10, it would mean the world to Victor. It would mean a world to the people who support Victor. Last update I got, the surgery went well, but he's going to need some rehabilitation, and he'll eventually then return to Ukraine with his new prosthetics. Okay, that's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.